Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Brought to you exclusively on Kiss FM by J. Michael, Fashion for Everyone. Good morning, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, Blake and Aaron. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, how are you?
Fantastic. Big headlines this morning.
Yeah.
All right.
Cayman Brac. An arrest was made yesterday afternoon after a man decided to shoot inside of an apartment in a house, basically.
Huh.
Hitting a headbed, we're told. The homeowners were so traumatized by the situation, they had to be taken to the hospital and they were under police watch. Well, it didn't take very long for the authorities to arrest this young man. And it's shocking, but his name is, hold on one quick second, let me get it here for you. His name is John Bodden, 37 years old, was arrested yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm. The streets are saying that basically he thought that the residents of that house were informing the police on him.
Well, maybe someone needed to. Sounds like a stand-up fella.
Sounds like he might be a criminal. So
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll definitely keep you guys updated because it's a very, very interesting situation in Cayman Brac.
Wasn't there like some shootout too recently? And vehicles were hidden? Like a shed row on Monday? Yeah. Hit by
yes. But
gunfire.
I was thinking Cayman Brac. Not in Cayman Brac, obviously.
Not in Cayman Brac. No, here in Cayman. Grand Cayman.
Yeah, there's some shots fired. Yes. Yeah, lots of firearm offenses obviously going on.
Did you? We didn't talk about the the 70 kilos of cocaine that washed up on the shore.
Oh, did we not mention that?
No.
one?
Did you hear about that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Mostly in Bonetown.
Yeah.
Yeah, the police have said that it's a problem across all three islands. There was over 65 kilograms of suspected cocaine washing up. Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, nobody was spared. They actually said that this is a growing concern. It's been happening over the last couple of weeks, and 6%, there have been 6 recent reports of persons finding said packages of suspected cocaine on our shorelines in all three islands. Single packages, the 22nd and 25th of May in Little Cayman, and then we had June the 5th in Cayman Brac, and Monday, June the 12th, 18 packages weighing about 1 kilogram each were discovered in Bodden.
Wow.
How many of those findings didn't go reported?
I was thinking the same thing. And they said on that same day that they found the Bodden Town packages, they also found 25 similar packages in Little Cayman as well.
Yeah. So I just don't get why they're ignorance is
the journey.
I'm guessing
throwing
that,
them ashore?
Yeah, I'm guessing these canoes get found out or get chased and then they ditch it.
Yeah, or they try to come off board too early, but yeah. So congratulations to the Special Olympics team. They have returned from that competition. We don't have a medal count yet, but hopefully we can post something up on the website a little bit later on this afternoon. But we wanted to, say congrats to them. Well done.
Awesome.
The Dream Team wins the Under-16 Girls Basketball Championship. So congratulations to these young ladies as well. Well done. The Dream Team, they say, got off to a blazing start, applying some pressure, and it apparently paid off because they won and, pulled ahead by 10 points and would not give up that lead. So, they won the league scorer, Jessica Watler, apparently is responsible for some 27 points. So good for her.
Sweet.
And congratulations to the entire team who won 49-37.
Excellent.
Yes, we like to see young people doing positive things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so those are your news headlines for this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Great.
Thanks, Sandy. We'll catch you tomorrow for the Thursday headlines. Have a good day, okay?
Sounds fantastic. Have a good one.
All right, our segment with CMAR brought to you by J. Michael.
All right, folks. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. I'm trying to not get this thing clicking all the time. You guys are good? Everybody's good? We got so much to talk about this morning. OMG. All right, let me get the links while we wait for 7:35 when we will go live on radio. So just give me one quick second here.
Bigger. Better. Bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's community radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live. Direct.
it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, beautiful folks. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. How is everyone doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Got my little virtual flag. Let me show you guys what we got going on here. Look at that. Representing. Nice. Good morning. We have joining us lots of people. So let's just say a quick good morning to some folks. Marshall is here. Diamond Princess is also joining us. Miss Iva, how are you? Damaris from New York. Miss Wee Wee is here. Evelyn from the Savannah area, Miss Vernita from Georgetown. We've got Nathan. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Nathina is here. Yes, so good to see you. Miss Olive, thank you so much. Olivia, how are you? Jazino, did I say that name right? Jazino Salmon, good morning to you. Carmelie is here. She says, happy Wednesday, Cayman. We have Miss Jan Smith joining us. Good morning, Miss Jan. Stephen joining us from the UK. Beautiful Louisa is also joining us. Bishop Blair, what's your location this morning? I know you're always traveling, having a good time, living your best, is it semi-retired or completely retired life? Miss Nadine in the comments section. Good morning to Miss Nadine as well. Curtis, hello, Curtis. All the way from Miami. Woohoo, he's in the big city today, boy. Good morning to Miss Alba. She says, buenos dias, Sandy. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy muy bien. And we've got Miss Morna also joining us. Decided to switch things up a little bit today into our little Cayman flag. Hopefully it's not too crazy because I don't have a full green screen to make it look a lot better. But we'll flex with it for a minute. Nothing like that beautiful Cayman flag, let me tell you. But we got lots to talk about this morning, so let's go ahead and kick it off. As you guys know, just in case you've been missing it, I am technically on vacation. And so what that means is we are having a shorter show these days. We'll go straight up until 9:30, and then I'm out of here to go and enjoy the rest of my day. Bishop Hero Blair says he just celebrated his 55th wedding anniversary in Canada. So it sounds like he's still there in Canada, having a good time. Absolutely beautiful, and congrats again. 55, trust me, that's a lifetime and then some, really. So congratulations. All right, so before we get to our main topic today, which we want to talk about caregivers, we've been trying to get to that topic from Monday, and I think it's really an important topic to at least give some attention to. We need to discuss the incident yesterday in Cayman Brac. I mean, this is just shocking and so incredibly disheartening as well, right? So during the show yesterday morning, I was getting some information, but because I didn't really have a whole lot and it was still flowing in, I really wanted to hold off on saying anything and definitely on publishing anything, right? So we were getting reports quite early on yesterday morning that there was some sort of a shooting incident in Cayman Brac, that a house was shot at. And again, this is super, super concerning. I mean, what on earth is happening to our little super peaceful, we still think of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman as the islands at times forgot. Grand Cayman, not so much so. But I was shocked when I heard it. I thought this is going to be some kind of mistake. This can't really be that somebody did this. Well, lo and behold, as the day continued to unfold, we received confirmation that it was true. And not only that it was true, but it was actually deliberate. And this, folks, is really quite shocking and disgusting. So this is what we know. Around 6:30 yesterday morning, let me just pull up the story here. There was a individual, his name is, hold on one second, is it John Bodden? He decided to take a firearm and shoot into someone's house. I really, really hope that the DPP's office and the police are going to be charging him with attempted murder, because there should be no other charge laid against this man. 37 years old. He was arrested late yesterday afternoon, probably around 4 o'clock, going into the 5 o'clock hour. The authorities were at his house arresting him for allegedly being involved in the shooting at the residence in the vicinity of Watering Place, Cayman Brac. So around 6:50 a.m., officers responded to a report of a potential firearm incident at a residence in the vicinity of Watering Place, Cayman Brac. It was reported that the occupant of the residence heard a loud bang, followed by one of the windows of the residence breaking. Now, our sources said that the shot was fired through the window, hit a bedhead. Now, you can imagine at 6:50 a.m., somebody is probably still lying down in bed. So, this is just crazy. But someone could have still very much been lying down in bed. And this probably was in near inches of their head. Needless to say, they were, shocked and traumatized all at the same time. And so the individual actually had to go to the hospital because their blood pressure skyrocketed, which you can certainly understand how that would happen. Never in our lifetime, I think, did we really think that something like this would be happening on any of our islands, much less Cayman Brac. So I don't know. Just really, really disappointing. So anyway, the story continues that the shot was intentionally fired into the house, as the accused man has been telling others, that an occupant of the house had informed on him. So in other words, they were telling the police, I guess, about his, I don't know exactly what activity he's in, but presumably drug activity. So the police went to the scene. They observed a projectile inside of the residence, which is suspected to have been fired into the window. The projectile is not a conventional firearm bullet, casing, or marine flare. And they said that they recovered it to be forensically processed as investigations continued. Thankfully, no one was injured. And like I said, the person was taken to the hospital and was under police watch. I think what this means about the firearm is that it might have been some sort of a modified firearm. So what does that mean exactly? Maybe this young man figured out how to make a homemade gun of some sort. Regardless of whether it's a homemade firearm or one that he bought from somewhere or whatever, I think the charges should remain the same, and he should be looking at attempted murder charges. You don't randomly fire into anybody's house with any sort of firearm-like device and not think that the outcome of that is actually going to be a potential, if that had hit someone, that would have been a potential deadly situation. So he's been arrested. I don't know much about John Bodden. We're going to show you his picture here in a second. I don't really know who this young man is. What we have ascertained is his mom is from Cayman Brac and his father apparently is an American. The father, I understand, recently died within the last year or so. And he seems to be on the wrong path. Now, some people were a bit surprised at the trajectory that this young man's life has taken, because they said, that he comes from a quote unquote good family. Now, I don't know what that means. I mean, you can come from the royal family, as y'all can see, and be accused of child molestation. So I don't know what a good family means anymore, folks. I guess his parents would have been hardworking individuals. Unfortunately, that doesn't always rub off on people's children, and it is what it is. Now, I don't know what he's been up to in the Brac. Has he had a stable job? Has he been, what's he been doing? I don't really know any of that, to be honest, but it looks like he is at least involved in some degree of criminal activity. And if the neighbors were complaining about him, this is why he decided to shoot into their home. Now, the most crazy thing about this situation is that the connection to, and this is really where sometimes things hit so close to home, the connection to that residence is, it's directly connected to our deputy premier. I'm understanding this is like her childhood home, where she grew up. So you can imagine, I don't know if when she goes to Cayman Brac, if she would ever stay there. I guess she has her own house, but you can imagine if she ever did stay there. Our deputy premier could have been in harm's way. Listen, everybody's life counts, and there's nobody's life who's, in my opinion, more important than whoever your loved ones are, right? So it doesn't matter if your loved ones are not royalty or whatever. Their lives matter, but this is even more shocking because this is at the very top of our government, if you will. Now, I had someone share a comment yesterday, which I thought was very, very interesting. And they essentially said that, this was solved so quickly. Is it just because it's the deputy premier's family? And I thought, I would like to think that anybody who, I'm going to show you some pictures of this young man. I would like to think that anybody who had their house shot at or shot into in Cayman Brac or any of the islands, that it would be a matter of extreme urgency for the authorities, regardless of who the individuals are. So I don't know that the police did anything special. I think that, it turns out that this case was relatively easy to solve. In fact, even before the arrest was made, there were people in the Brac who knew exactly who the culprit was. And I'm assuming that got to the police very, very quickly. So, they pointed out that there's several unsolved incidents in the Brac, including the hit and run of Mr. Mitchie. I think that's such an unfortunate situation. And I still hope that people will be brought to justice for that. Of course, everybody in Cayman Brac also kind of knows who did that, right? It's just that the police can't prove it. And so they've been unsuccessful in making an arrest that has actually stuck, because they've made a couple arrests, but there have been no charges laid against any of those individuals. And once again, this is where the good people of Cayman Brac need to step forward. Do not allow these criminals to take control of your little island. You've got to step forward, step up, and try to make a difference. And, in the case of Mitchie's murder, because that's exactly what it is, murder by vehicular homicide, they call it in some countries. In the case of that situation, it's very, very unfortunate that, there are rumors afoot that the mother of at least one of the people involved in the car incident, allegedly in the vehicle, would have helped them wash off the car and try to destroy police evidence. Cayman Brac is only so big, right? And if I can not even live in the Brac and hear that sort of detailed information, I think that some people need to really, really step forward. So good morning to Mr. Jesus. Melanie's here. Everton is in the house. Leroy says upgrade a flare gun. And again, the police haven't said what sort of modified situation it was. I'm sure we will hear as the details continue. Good morning to Lanny. Brian, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Everton says maybe it's a ghost gun. That's what they're doing now. Can't be traced that easily. You buy the parts over the internet. Not so sure he probably went to all that trouble, Everton, but who knows? We'll have to see. All right. Okay. Good morning. We've got listeners far and near. 936-2626 is the telephone number. Someone says, hope he's not from Old Grand, as they often refer to. It's just showing us what's to come. Yeah, they kind of been hiding a lot in the Brac, like how they're hiding the story about the 2-year-old baby. What a mess. So it's just, it's shocking. Some of the stuff that we're hearing going on in the Brac. And of course, people continue to say that, listen, this is, we've been talking about the drug problem in the Brac for a minute. Finally, the RCIPS decided to have a community meeting, and this was like some 2 years later, because the original one was canceled, and then they never bothered to have it until we started to call for, whatever happened to that community meeting? And so, here we are still wondering what else is being done other than just a community meeting. I think that, it's just shocking. But with drugs come other things. And so a lot of people seem to be very dismissive of the flow of drugs to and through our islands. And this is precisely why you cannot be dismissive, because at the end of the day, this is the sort of thing that happens. So you've got, drugs in circulation within the sister islands, and definitely here. As we were mentioning a bit earlier, some 65 kilos have turned up across the 3 islands in just the last few weeks, which, when you think about it, is quite a bit of drugs. So the police have said that, let me just see here, over 68 kilos of suspected cocaine have washed ashore all 3 islands. So we're talking about 6 recent reports of persons finding packages containing suspected cocaine on the shoreline. And that includes the 22nd and 25th of May in Little Cayman, the 5th of June in Cayman Brac, the 12th of June, 18 packages weighing approximately 1 kilo each discovered in Bodden Town. And then on the same day, an additional 25 packages were discovered on Little Cayman as well. So, and then Wednesday, June the 21st, a further 22 packages weighing approximately 22 kilograms were found on the shores in Cayman Brac. So of course, the logical question is, thank God that the people who at least found those decided to contact the authorities, but what else is washing up ashore on all 3 islands that doesn't get reported, that ends up back on the streets, and of course, continues to wreak havoc across our 3 islands. So one of the concerns, folks, that Cayman Brac has in particular is that the flow of drugs on the Brac seems to be free flowing, and there is little to nothing being done about it, according to Brac residents. They are constantly complaining that, there are particular places that are known as drug harboring locations. They hang out by some graveyard somewhere in Cayman Brac, and everybody seems to know like that's the spot at night to go and get your fix. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy how much of it is flowing around the Brac. So how do we address this? I mean, we've talked about this before. We've talked about the need for, obviously, people to come forward. And not just that, but the Brac clearly needs more police presence. So how many police officers are currently in Cayman Brac? I'm going to say not enough, to be quite frank and honest. And so if we need to send what's a special squad, the armed unit there, you know what? Send them there. I don't really care at this point in time what the optics looks like. I say send them there and make your presence extremely known. So make sure that you're walking up down in the community. You're on your bicycles. You guys have an idea. You should have an idea of exactly who is trafficking in drugs. Hang out at the front of their gate. Watch their every movement, folks. There has to be a very, very strict response to this sort of thing, because we see exactly now where this is going on the Brac, right? Here's a man who apparently is trying to silence what he says is an informer. And there are other people in the Brac who've made threats about doing the same thing to informers. The police response to this should not be just to arrest John Bodden. It should be to put some boots on the ground in Cayman Brac and to ensure that every single corner of Cayman Brac has armed units that are walking up and down. Y'all need to get the Brac cleaned up. And the Brac is such a small community. The 5 or 6 people that are trading in drugs in the Brac and wreaking havoc in the entire community, y'all need to get them under control. And if it means somebody says, yes, patrol, yes, get out there, right? Don't be sitting up in the police station in Cayman Brac, the one officer that's in the Brac falling asleep, and you don't even know what's going on in the community, right? And I don't care who these officers are that you send to the back. Go to the residents and the known drug areas. There's one down by, what is that one beach in Dock area? What's it called again? Anyway, you guys know exactly where it is on the Brac. Go there and just hang out there during the night. There's several known people in the Brac who are both users, informers, and dealers. So they inform on other people who they claim are informing the police. And so I say that you need to make sure that you follow them up and down as well. They're choosing to use, that's on them, and they don't want to go into rehab, they don't want to get help. But I would say that you need to make their life a living hell by basically ghosting. Not ghosting isn't the right word. What's the word that I'm looking for? But basically putting a trail on them where you follow them up all day and night if you need to. So when they're not sleeping and they're walking up and down the streets and they're begging people for money and trying to get drugs, you should be right there with them. Say, hey, what you doing? Mm-hmm. Good morning, Miss Yasmin. Miss Dean, so good to see you. Jesus says, that guy is crazy. Cheryl, good morning to you. Miss Dorothy is here with us as well. Good morning to Miss Beulah. Leroy says that we need Scotland Yard here in Grand and get sent some of our Whatless police over there. I don't even know that we need that. I mean, I don't know what Scotland Yard is going to be doing or deploying that our own police officers should not be able to do. I don't think Scotland Yard is what they used to be in any event, but we have to be able to handle our own business. We can't expect every time that we are having drugs coming into this country, which is a norm for the Cayman Islands, that there's not something that we can do ourselves. It's not for other people to solve our problems. It's for us to step up to the plate and do something about it ourselves. So I think we have the so-called expertise and knowledge on the force. It's just that their tactics don't seem to really be working. And they have, for the most part, ignored the issues that are happening in Cayman Brac and even to a smaller extent on Little Cayman. So much so that criminals and drug users and drug addicts are running from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac because they have easier access to drugs. And they cannot have it any easier there. And it's so easy that, what you have happening is there's no one speaking to them there's no one doing anything. So some of Cayman's biggest drug addicts have recently moved back to the Brac because getting drugs there is easier, getting their fix there is easier. They have no interference from the police and the authorities, nothing. It's just free reign. And so, it's just absolutely crazy that we seem to know that information here in Grand Cayman, but yet the authorities don't know it. Come on. Irvin is asking about the notification. I did send it out, Irvin. Let me just double check something. As you guys know, we have more than one group, but yes, it went out to the groups that you should be in. Yep, went out to everybody. So not sure why you wouldn't have got it, but you should have it. Marshall says that Cayman Brac is too small for crime to get out of hand. The police need to step in and get it under control now. And I would love to hear, I mean, I don't know what the new police designate, Mr. Kurt Walton. Is it Kurt Walton? Is that his name? I get the new, hold on. That's his name, right? By the way, is he a Bracker? With a name like that, is his people from Cayman Brac? Let me see. Tell me who he for, because I would think with a name like that, he probably is, and so he should be very, very concerned about what's happening in Cayman Brac. And I would love to hear from him as a new, designate chief. Commissioner of police designate, what his plans are to address crime on the sister islands. He's got to change things up. Like, listen, Commissioner designate Kurt Walton, with all due respect, we thank Mr. Derek for his services, but he's on his way out. He's leaving later this year. We expect that in certain respects, it's not going to be business as usual. If certain things are not working for the RCIPS, a fresh approach is needed. The community's here. The community has already said in the Brac that they are willing to work with you guys as much as they can. Listen, there's nothing that happens in the Brac that we can't find out. People talk, right? And so, this fresh approach has to include something a little bit different. It can't be business as usual, because obviously business as usual simply isn't working. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Sandra.
Morning. How are you?
Good. As we all know, there's a thing called good cop, bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have good cops, bad cops here.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any type of corruption, illegal activity within the department, well, there's not necessarily going to be any rectification of the problems we're facing
Mm-hmm.
with the drugs, the guns coming into the islands, the crime, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say if there is this illegal activity, then I think the RCIPS needs a really good at going over investigation and seeing if there's anything from the inside happening that's spewing on to the street.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it hard to believe a beautiful island like Grand Cayman,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful island like Cayman Brac, and a tiny island like Little Cayman can have this much crime going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's not a whole lot getting solved, or at least we don't hear about it. We'll hear about the story itself, but we don't really hear about what's been done,
Mm-hmm.
how it's been done, who's been arrested, the names put forth, the sentencing, so on and so forth.
Yes.
And I hate to say, eventually someone has to be made an example.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody's getting a slap on the wrist, being put back on the street, and they're just doing the same old stuff over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I myself, there's areas in Bodden Town that are supply drugs. Everybody on island pretty much knows that area of Bodden Town.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're driving through the island and you see these young, able-bodied men standing around all day long doing nothing, but in the same places pretty much day in and day out, you have to scratch your head and go, wonder what they're up to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these areas are public places.
Yes.
But you don't see officers stopping by there and saying, you guys need to move on.
Right. Yep.
So that's my 2 cents. I just think, we don't see enough police presence out in the street now.
Yes.
I have no idea where they are, what they're doing, but you can't sit inside an air-conditioned car. You can't sit inside an air-conditioned building.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit inside an air-conditioned restaurant and expect things to change. They need to be out on the street. They took an oath. They need to be out there for the people and do something about what is happening to our beautiful islands.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carl. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, folks, 936-2626 is the telephone number. What's your take on this? What are you guys feeling about the crime situation overall, but specifically on our sister islands and Cayman Brac in particular? Do you feel like enough is being done? So good morning to Miss Sue. Good morning to Miss Barbara. Leroy says, very true, caller. Miss Charlene, good morning to you. She says, thank you, caller. You're absolutely correct. We have a few comments here. Tracy says, many police are related. If you pull over your relative, many get off on a warning and see you at Sunday church. Well, I'm not so sure, Tracy, that that's the case, because we don't really have that many Caymanian officers on the force anymore. So I think that's a bit of misinformation, in fact, because the vast majority of our force would be Jamaican nationals, and I don't know what percentage, but maybe we need to send the RCIPS and FOI on this one. But, you know, if they're keeping track by nationality, I think we can all just look at the force and probably say, I would say between 60 to 7% or 60 to 70% are probably Jamaicans. And then there's probably about 15 to 20% that are English officers. And then the rest would be a mix between Caymanians, Filipinos, and maybe one or two Spanish officers. I don't think we have a whole lot of those, but so I don't agree with that at all. I think long gone are the days where you're going to pull over someone and they're going to be a family member. That's just ridiculous. That's like from 50 years ago. So that isn't the issue. I think that the police, the RCIPS, have claimed that they are going to be more committed to community patrolling and community policing. And they've got to be serious about that. That can't just be, oh, we'll have a meeting once a year and say that we're committed to it. That actually means that you've got to be there. You've got to have boots on the ground. You've got to have people on the ground. And that's the only way that you're going to even find out what's going on. You do patrols, you talk to people. You know, everybody has your WhatsApp number. If they want to send you an anonymous tip as something is going down, they should be able to do so and feel confident that that information isn't going to go anywhere. I think there is a degree of fraternizing that people are concerned about. Even that situation on the Brac with the baby. We still don't know what happened to that child. Everybody feels like something isn't right with how that child ended up, you know, down the Iron Shore, how far away, a mile away or whatever from her house. Something doesn't feel right about that situation. But when you hear Brackers talking about it, they were also talking about, you know, the head guy over in Cayman Brac of the police, you know, having a very friendly relationship with the mother. And people have concerns about that. And there's a lot of gossip around the nature of that situation. Listen, people are going to gossip. And just because people gossip doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. But y'all know a lot of times, if it don't go so, it's not far from so, right? And so there is some reason why people feel like there's an overly friendly relationship between some officers and some individuals, even on the Brac, which should never be the case. Mm-hmm. You know, you shouldn't be, now we're talking about boots on the ground, but there's a certain degree of professionalism that one must still maintain at all times. So Selvin says, permit me to say good morning and ask one question. What is happening with the only house explosion in Cayman? Is this left the way it is and swept under the rug? The rug is large enough to sweep anything under. Cover up in the making. Well, we don't have any updates other than what we said last time, Selvin, which is I think they were trying to bring in some experts from the UK. I thought that it was a bit late in the day by the time that they announced that. So I don't know what the experts are going to say. What I do know is that debris is still in the road. Homeowners in the area have no idea what's going on with the insurance company. I believe the insurance company is, hold on one second now. Let me see here now. I believe the insurance company is Island Heritage. And so they're basically saying that they have to wait until the police are done with their report. And so, you know, people are like, listen, it's hurricane season. You know, there's debris all over the place. Heaven forbid we get a storm all this debris becomes a projectile. And the red car that was, I guess, in close proximity to the house has now been moved, and they have it up for sale on EK Trade. Y'all better double check that car. So I don't know. You know, we saw correspondence from the insurance companies saying that documents were added to the file, and we now await completion and receipt of the official police report to confirm liability. So what if the police can't say anything in terms of liability? What are these insurance companies going to be doing? So that's a question, obviously, Salvin, that we'll continue to monitor. Tracy says, gosh, if you can't control the Brac being so small, what hope is there for Grand Cayman? Well, this is, again, where you've got to take a very different approach to policing, including on the Brac and Grand Cayman. Damien, good morning. Damien says, it's fun, sun, and rum for everyone since the last 40 years. Welcome to, is that our paradise or tour paradise? Not sure what you meant to say there. Good morning to Miss Daisy. And again, you know, well, it's been over a month now. I was talking about the chef who, remember the Indian chef who disappeared? And then he ended up in Cayman Brac to get his drug fix. And y'all were like, oh, what difference does it make? You know, because I said, it's shocking to me that even the expats know where to go for the drugs. You know, just go to the Brac. You know, he got up, walked off his job, basically, went to Cayman Brac, and was there on a drug binge. And you guys were questioning me about, well, what difference does that make? And I said, it says a lot when your expat community who are here in work permits know, and they're part of this very tight drug circle. Yeah. The names, the players it's not a gazillion people. Most people in Cayman are law-abiding people, are honest people, and they're not into this. But, you know, the few that are, the police know who they are. They know the road works people in Cayman Brac are part of the underground of transporting drugs from one location to the next on the sister islands, and apparently getting paid by the Cayman Islands government to deliver these drugs. That's what's being rumored. And it comes from, you know, in my opinion, very, very good sources on Cayman Brac. You can imagine, government is paying people to be out there, the road crew, to do work. And the road crew are actually the ones who are out there potentially, hypothetically, alleged that they're the ones who are out there actually transporting the drugs on behalf of some of these drug lords. Like, seriously? And the Cayman Islands government, we the people are actually paying for that? Y'all have got to be crazy and a completely different level. If you understand the implications of exactly what it is that I'm saying. Ay. And once again, you know, we've had elected officials on Cayman Brac who've done nothing about the growing concerns of crime in that jurisdiction since they've been in office for 20 plus years. I don't hear them saying a thing about crime, about the drug problems, nothing. They've not spoken about it at all. It doesn't appear to be a concern. Now, heaven forbid I mention the churches, because we don't want anybody calling in this morning talking about they need to defend churches. But all those individuals talk about, and all they do is attend church and talk about the churches. Once again, we have social ills, social issues, drugs running rampant, and nothing's ever done about it. No one ever decides that they're going to talk about it. Ms. Sue says, yes, very true. The police need to step it up before it's too late here and on the sister islands. Good morning, Gareth. Garrett said the last I heard, 60% of the RCAPS were Jamaican nationals. That was my guesstimate. So I wouldn't be surprised if those were the figures. Natasha, good morning. She says it seems to be so deliberate, the spike in crime. Where are the officers? We have enough officers, but you're pressed to see them patrolling or taking preventative measures. My dear Natasha, I could not agree with you more. Gabby says most of them are just there to collect a check, no real passion for the community. And those are the ones that need to be gone. You need to weed those officers out. Tracy says in the Brac, they all know each other. And how is such a small island, they don't know who the bad apples are? Well, everybody seems to know who the bad apples are, but the police, I guess, and they're not doing anything about it. Good morning to Alice. Don't forget the phone lines open, 936-2626. Tyrone says, I need to hire native Caymanians to police our islands because if they're not from here, they don't care about our islands. They're just here for a very good paycheck. Charlene says we need to resume to more RCIPS officers being Caymanians, not paper or status holders back in the day when our force was primarily locals, even back when cases were solved with limited numbers and resources. Today, there's so much more and nothing or any positive resolution, hardly. It's very concerning. Well, let me say this because I don't want to not give the police credit because listen, I look at the court list every single day. And when you see the number of people that are in court, some for very, very serious offenses, I wouldn't say that the police are not successful. I think it's a combination of things, right? So they can only bring people so far, and then it's up to the DPP's office to try to actually win the case when it comes to court. I think sometimes they fall flat on their faces as well. So it's a combination of more than one agency that's responsible for, this egregious behavior. And their failings have been, really noted. I had someone over the weekend, I think that might have actually been Monday, reaching out to me about how the police, no, that was Sunday, how the police mishandled an assault case. And they have all the photos of how the person was assaulted, but yet it went to court and the person had managed to get off. And I said, well, it seems to have been something amiss in the investigation because the DPP's office replied to them and said, well, we didn't have these photos and you can't just supply these photos, after the charges have been laid. And it was like too late in the process. And I thought, how do you have these photos and that does not become part of your police statement? Like there's so many things that I had questions about in that particular situation. And that would not be a unique case. Sometimes the police are really doing a poor job of police investigation, of getting witness statements and so on, and then other cases, they want to try to make it look like it's a criminal, a capital offense when it really isn't. So there are a lot of times that I do question what the police do, but I also want to give them some credit because like I said, the court list proves that they're doing their job, at least to a certain extent. Some of them can't really read and write all that well. I've seen them produce witness statements that I would be ashamed to say actually came from an adult officer. And I have said to the RCIPS, listen, there are things that you can do in terms of technology to improve upon these reports, right? You should not have a police statement or police report going to the DPP's office with all these typographical errors, grammatical errors. It's like fifth grade writing by phonics. And, the last couple of times I've had dealings with the police where I may have had to provide a statement, I just type up my statement myself and I just hand it, here you go. It's on a jump drive. Let me email it to you or whatever. Because I can't be bothered trying to spell simple words for them. Like, oh, how do you spell that? I'm like, really? Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Let me just double check the settings here. 1 second. I think we got to change this so people can hear you. Right, try now. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Yes, let me just double check. You're coming in a little bit low on my end, but can anybody confirm if they can hear that caller for me, please? Can everybody in Facebook hear her? And then can people on radio hear her? Go ahead and speak for me, caller. So they can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Let me just see where they're listening. So if people can just confirm where they're listening and if they can hear you or not, then let me just try to make some adjustments to settings. So they're listening on radio and can't hear you. All right, caller, give me 1 second here. Let me make a few adjustments. I'm going to adjust this to. All right, caller, speak again for me.
Oh, hello.
Yep. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. I need you guys to tell me. So, Somebody said they're listening. They're on their way to work and breakers. No, I meant, were you listening on radio? Which I'm assuming you are. So very, very low on YouTube. They're saying on radio. Caller, just speak again for me.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. Can anybody on radio now hear her? Just confirm for me. Yes, they said they can hear you now. All right.
Okay. So I was saying you just hit the nail on the head. I remember working with police officers and getting joint cases, and they, from those days back, don't know how to put a statement together. They would actually dodge from, being a part of that arrest or whatever, so that they wouldn't have to do all of the heavy work, like statement and evidence collections and stuff. So that is still continuing. And like what you say, I mean,
That
it's
sounds
plain
like
to see some of
pure
them.
laziness.
Well, the thing is about it, I don't think that they're being vetted properly to say, because what I'm thinking, what we need is a police college. I think we need a police college where all of these things are picked up. I'm sure do some training, a statement, and thing, but they need to have at least the basic math, English, geography, or whatever it is, because it makes it look bad on the police that
Yeah.
they can't win
But
more
why are we,
cases.
caller? Let me ask you a question. Then why are we hiring, especially foreign police officers who can't read and write? I mean, excuse me, but if we need
Again,
a
because
police college, a police
because
college should
it's
be
the
the benefit for the
pool.
benefit of Caymanians. Like I wouldn't expect to hire anybody who don't have the basics, who can't read and write.
Yeah, but remember now, Sandy, these are people. I mean, again, I keep going back. We need to get our young people interested from a very young age to do police work, to see that is an honor and a privilege to serve as an officer. Then you can start to groom them. You're gonna make sure they get the proper credentials and so forth. But what's happening? We don't have a pool. We don't have a big pool of people to select from. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Jean and Mary, they will come and they'll go into the force, and then they'll get there because they're needed. They're needed, but they're not producing what the standard or the level of education that they need to be officers. So I mean, you got plumbers that are police officers there. You got different, not hitting or anything on those people, because a lot of them probably, but that I think is the biggest problem. We don't have enough applying to begin with, and then because the pool is so small, they're just grabbing up anything that come. I not hear of a person that has applied for police yet in these last years that has been denied. You know, so that's how I think, and I hope and pray that Mr. Walton or those up there will come into your show, Sandy, and just give us an idea what their plans are. I know he have something by now, because I'm sure he was being groomed for years now to take this position. So we need to know what is planned for the future of our
Yes.
country, because this
And
is this
and
is this is getting out of hand.
and
It's out of
caller,
hand. I think it's out of hand.
one of the recommendations I would make to him, because they have a very specific way of doing their press conferences lately. In case you guys haven't noticed, they get all media together. They do an hour-long press conference in their little policing room, right? Their level of engagement, in my opinion, leaves a lot to be desired. And I hope that this is not one of the things that has rubbed off on him, because I think that whoever is giving them that PR advice on how to engage with the public, even as the top brass, the leadership of this country, they need to
They're
reevaluate that.
afraid.
You know what I'm saying? So
Well, they're afraid. They're
I'm
all
hoping he
afraid of.
doesn't have bad habits already because of taking advice
Exactly.
from other people.
Yes, exactly. So what we got to do? This is our force. This is not their force. This is our police force. So we have to stand up and demand what we need. And like you said, Cayman, Brac, Little Cayman, even Cayman is so small. Sandy, tell me why we can't get better patrol. Tell me why we can't, clamp down on this drug problem. We having a big issue. It may not sound like a lot, but when you think about 68 kilos of hard drugs coming in,
That's
to
a
our
lot.
island. We don't know. We don't know what went. We don't know. Could have been guns. They might have
Of
turned it.
course.
You know, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
So what
And,
they need
and
to
and let's
do,
be
send
very
the
clear,
extra.
right? These guys don't bring in drugs normally without weapons. And so,
Exactly.
that is something that we need
Exactly.
to be very, very clear about. They're bringing in weapons, they're
Exactly.
smuggling criminals in. It's all part of the criminal enterprise.
Exactly. So what we gotta do? Get him out. I hope he's listening, or somebody will tell him and his deputies or whatever to come on CMR. We're not listening to any other show. I don't listen to any other show. To be honest with you, I'll just speak the truth. So if I feel this way, I'm sure a lot of people. I
Yeah.
mean, the
But I
numbers
mean,
show.
go, yes.
The
I mean,
numbers
go,
show there.
yeah. I mean, go everywhere. But I mean, definitely this should be your first stop,
No,
I
well,
would say. But,
yeah. Well, let's just be truthful. Nobody gonna tell you that not truthful, that you don't get a more audience than most places. They try, but it's just not happening. And you don't bite. I mean, you can get kind of rough on the edge sometimes, but you do not bite.
I
So
know, Chad, but
there's
they're still
questions.
scared according to
There's
them.
the question.
Oh,
The
Lord.
questions are there to be asked. That's what
Yes.
I see.
All right, my
So
love. Thank
let's
you
hope
so much.
they'll come on. Okay.
Appreciate it. Siobhan says, same. I only watch CMR. Listen, they can go everywhere, but I think, as the caller said, make this one of your top spots to come to for sure. But, there has to be a different level of engagement. Is it too much to ask the commissioner of police to come on a talk show once a month to engage and talk with the people, to hear what the people are saying in the communities? Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes, Sandy, I'm calling back.
Yes,
I think one of the problems is people don't have the confidence or the trust in the police at RCIPS any longer.
Yes.
It's just not there. So for us to ask the public for the public's assistance, people don't want to. People are afraid to.
Yeah.
They don't trust that area of government.
Well, how do you rebuild trust? You start with proper communication.
100%. You need to have proper leadership. You need to have proper training. You have to have people being checked up on, making sure they're doing their job. They need to be held accountable, and they are not being held accountable. I see a lot going on just with my own eyes, and I question a lot of things. But it's like a corporation. If you don't have a corporation being run properly, and there's no one to go to file a grievance and feel comfortable and confident enough to go and file that grievance, the problem's still going to remain. And I think that's happening with the RCIPS and the public in general. And even the criminals don't have confidence in the police, because look at all the robberies that people are getting away with. Look at all the crime overall that these guys are getting away with. There's no confidence, no trust. They need to get their act together. They need to really show that they're working for the people. They're not doing us a favor. They're working for us. They're getting paid to do what they're doing.
Speaking of that, one of the things they need to cut out is all these permissions to have all these side jobs. I mean, these officers have so much time on their hands. It's no wonder they can't take a literacy course, because they're too busy running car washes, immigration services, construction companies, moonlighting, and all sorts of other side businesses. Many years ago.
That's a lot of government.
If you have a 9-to-5 government job, maybe you can do it. When you have you're working 12-hour shifts, you need to be using your additional time for training, for upskilling yourself, and to get some rest too, because officers, to be fair to them, are under a lot of stress and strain and whatever. So they should be taking some downtime for themselves, not hustling out in these streets to set up a corporation and a business to make $5,000-$10,000 a month on the side.
Those officers that really care, yes, but those that don't, don't and won't.
Yep. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. All right. 936 Bobo is the telephone number. I did see somebody else calling in just now. Sorry, we missed the call. 936-2626. Can says, hola, Sandy, buenos dias from Costa Rica. Buenos dias, Costa Rica. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra.
Yes, sir. Morning.
And to the caller, both of you are pretty much the dynamic what pretty much want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And like you mentioned, the commissioner needs to stop hide fear and hide behind the scenes and come forward. I didn't say, you know, one-on-one discussion at Cayman, you know, what's going on and what's ahead.
Yes.
You know, it's weird when you travel abroad and you see what's going on in the other police forces. It's corrupt. And Cayman Island is too small for this. You know, people know what's going on and see what's going on, so how come authorities can't see what's going on? You know, so it's sham on who is in evil, who is dealing with, who is supplying, who is bringing. You know, so why not show yourselves and explain and talk to the people? You know, because the people, us the people, you know, wouldn't be people elected and the members who have been elected, those are the ones that need to come forward and say, you know, you need to show your presence. Be heard. You know, it's scary. Our island so small.
Yes.
Jamaica itself, you know, is a paradise, but it's so corrupt, unbelievable. They're gonna make and wait till Cayman is gonna be almost like that.
Oh God.
Like that. Extortionist and all something. So you've got to nip in the butt before it escalates.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. All right, my dear. 936 Bobo. I think the caller's quality was a little bit degraded for some reason, but basically he was saying, you know, he agreed with the previous caller. He agreed with the sentiments being shared this morning. And he also said that, listen, Jamaica is a beautiful country, but the level of corruption is, you know, astronomical. And it's something that Cayman does not want to become. And so we've got to fight in every way that we possibly can. A lot of people agree with the concept of a police academy. This person actually just messaged on WhatsApp saying, good morning, blessed good morning, San. A kaboom on the police college. Kudos to that knowledgeable lady caller. Thank you so much, San. What would we do without you? God bless you profusely. Thank you so much. A few other people here. RD says Caymanians are to blame. They believe that everyone comes here for the betterment of Cayman. Those police are here to grab everything that they can, and they don't give a damn about Cayman. Well, that's why I said earlier, when we even talk about bringing in Scotland Yards, I'd say pump the brakes, honey child. Why on earth are we so quick to think that Scotland Yard is going to be, number one, able to solve our problems? They don't know anything about the context of what is happening in the Cayman Islands. You know, and if our officers need additional training that Scotland Yards are such experts at, send Cayman officers there. You know, there are ways to, I don't know how easy it is to set up a local police academy. They do go through, I don't know how many weeks of training, but they do go through some sort of training once they're hired, right? And they're supposed to learn elements of the law. I think they actually have law lectures, even from the law school, come in and teach them different things. I don't know how much they're able to absorb during that time, but what I would say, and I think they have to have a pass mark for them to actually be qualified then as a full officer, right? But what I would say is that there's a lot of options that are available. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let me be very clear here. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we certainly don't have to waste money on things that are not going to reap a real benefit. There are police academies that exist that we can take and customize for our little community, for our country, that we can tweak, right? There are online courses. All civil servants, but in particular enforcement agencies, CBC, WORC. Does WORC have enforcement anymore? I think they're supposed to have an enforcement arm. Child, not that they're doing much because I can't even remember. And police are some examples of people who should be required on an annual basis to do continuing education. They should be getting what's called, I think it's continuing education credits, CEC, right? So that should be a requirement. They should always be taking courses. Laws change all the time. Some of them are applying old laws to current situations. The first class they should have to take Police Academy 101 is how to tell the difference between a case that is truly a civil case and a case that is a criminal case, and how sometimes the two converge and there is a convergence where something can be civil, but it's actually criminal as well. You can imagine Judith Douglas, who has now, how many counts? I've lost count. Is it over like 60 counts of obtaining property by deception? Police officers were telling the first 3 or 4 people that went and complained to them about this woman that, oh, no, we can't help you because this is a civil case. And now she's charged with over 60 counts, I believe, we'll get the final count, of obtaining property by deception. Are y'all paying attention, officers? Like, how does that happen? How do people go to the police department, the police station, file a report, and your officers are shooing them out the door, saying, no, that's a civil matter, we don't want to help you, or we can't help you. And now you have the woman charged with over 60 counts. This is a failing on the understanding of your officers. Their basic knowledge is lacking, and somebody has got to call them out on this. You understand me? This is ridiculous. And then had we not posted like, oh my God, look at all the countless victims, emailed the police myself and said, Commissioner, what gives here? This is not a civil case. This is a fraudster who's already served police time for doing similar things, defrauding people of their hard-earned money, and she's at it again. But your officers are telling these poor people that they have no help. There's nothing that they can do. Ms. Elaine says they need to have or need to demand that officers of the RCIPS fill out monthly reports on how they contribute to any policing duty. Oh God. Ms. Elaine, you have them do another report. You know, we just told you they can't read. Another report that can boggle them down for a week just to complete that one report. Anyway. Leroy says, you see that article yesterday about Honduras? Yes, I'm going to come to that. I actually need to grab some water. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. You guys know that I'm actually on vacation, so my setup is not what it usually is. In the morning back home, I always have my tea and my water. Miss Stacy makes sure I'm good to go first thing in the morning. I just realized that I've been talking now for a straight hour and a bit, and I've not even had a little sip of water. No tea. This is what happens when you go on vacation, honey, chill. So I'm going to cue up a commercial that will give me enough time to run downstairs, grab a beverage, some water, and I'll be right back after these messages.
Renewables are very important to CUC. The environment's going to benefit, the customers are going to benefit.
It is the future. It's not a matter of if it's coming, it's when.
We can't stop. We do need the change.
Really, really excited to talk about how we're going to get a lot of renewable energy on the grid.
We have been working on bringing renewable energy to Grand Cayman for many years now and produced our integrated resource plan back in 2016.
Looking at how we can most effectively not only get renewable energy but reduce the CO2 impact of CUC's operations. You hear the comments or the misnomers that CUC is married to diesel, and quite frankly, there couldn't be anything that's further from the truth. We know that renewable energy is the right thing to do.
There's a lot of value by using renewable energy, battery energy storage within your integrated grid. A lot of time has to be put together to do your research, understand what it is that you're wanting to put out there.
CUC has the ability to lead that transition, right? And be the first for not only Cayman, but the region.
It's going to be so worth it. It's what I come to work for every single day. To know what we're working on is going to set the country up for success. It's going to be a foundational element of the economy.
Bringing the public along with us is one of the key things to make a success out of it.
To make sure that we're doing our part to reach those United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Our team has been equipped, trained, developed. If we get a go-ahead tomorrow, we start.
And I see it in the future, it's not that far away. It could be as little as 5 or 6 years away, where we'll have times of the day where we are 100% renewable.
They can't hear us. Oh my goodness. Did we disconnect from radio? Okay, they could not hear that at all. Did anybody hear that? I queued up a commercial, but people are saying that they couldn't hear it. Oh boy. Well, I stole my quick minute and ran for my water. No commercial played. Yikes. Okay. Huh. All right, we're back. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. All right. Okay, so grabbed my water. Somebody said that they heard it on the radio. Okay, that's weird. I don't know, folks. All right. Miss Daisy said she heard it on the radio. And somebody else said it played fine on YouTube. So, yep, YouTube was good. All right. So, are you guys still hearing me fine on social as well? Okay. All right. I think we are good to go. Okay. So, we've been talking about some concerns with the RCIPS this morning. Let's just wrap this up just a little bit here. I've got a few more comments that have come in. Good morning. Don't forget Little Cayman, says Gareth. Even if it's a small population, there's still residents and tourists there that need policing. Anything can happen. Selvin says that this police need to tap into the concept of community reporting by the citizenry. Everyone has a cell phone, and it is hard to deny a video recording. Plug RCIP. Folks, yes, at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot that can be done. I know the chain of evidence and how they actually obtain information, but sometimes even when you give them like a recording and stuff, they're at a loss of exactly what to do. Damien talking about the chef that we were speaking of earlier, who went to Cayman Brac recently. By the way, is this guy still in the Cayman Islands? Somebody ups and quits their job, goes to Cayman Brac to get drugs and go on a drug binge. How on earth would we be allowing this person to remain in this jurisdiction? These are the logical questions that my brain is just like, is he still here? Explain this to me. There was quite a bit of police action out in the vicinity of, I think it was Gun Bay yesterday as well. Looks like it might have been CBC carrying out some sort of, operation. Kudos, good for them. But Damien says that he was a bartender in Little Cayman Beach Resort and they knew his bad habits. But if that was a Caymanian, they would have been fired. Same with the resort manager, Tiago, that had the car accident with the DUI. Oh, I remember him because we reported on how he totaled his car. And then the day after he left the jurisdiction. It's funny how sometimes these people can have, especially when it comes to drugs, they can have known drug addictions and known issues, and we're bringing them here in work permits. And as Damien says, they get a pass that a Caymanian would never in a million years get. Remember yesterday's show about how we're whitewashing certain situations? And I'm purposely using the term whitewashing because of its dual meaning here. Okay, you think about it. Damien says even the two police officers on Little Cayman were at a certain bar and watching whoever leave piss drunk. One even wore flip-flops, Adidas pants, and gold chains as uniform. What? A police officer wearing flip-flops, Adidas pants, and gold chains as his uniform? You gotta be joking. Wow. But you see, once they get stationed in the sister islands, nobody's checking up on them, I would dare say, because I used to heard about another one who's now, the biggest real estate company in the Cayman Islands, or so they claim. I heard that the Jeep used to be parked for so long on Little Cayman that the grass grew up underneath the Jeep, like there was that mark, under the Jeep, because the police Jeep just wasn't even being moved. And they were hanging out on the beach, frolicking and fornicating and having a good old time. And the residents were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're not got no patrolling around here. That's how they became the #1 real estate company in the Cayman Islands, because they had a lot of time to sit on the beach, looking up, stargazing, cloud gazing at the sky, and think about their plan of how they were going to become millionaires in the Cayman Islands. Angel says that a lot of Caymanians get the opportunity to become law enforcement officers, but they don't apply. I mean, I don't know how many apply versus how many don't get. Somebody just said that they're obviously hiring anybody these days. RD says the fact is most people in the RCAPS come to Cayman for the salary. Also, I hope that these drugs that were recently found don't disappear like the last batch. Everton says, you tell me that you guys cannot find qualified individuals in the Cayman Islands to serve as police officers? In Sirhan, other people from other countries, there's something wrong. And iron foreigners, I don't know if that's supposed to be hiring foreigners, but it seems like you guys have more Jamaicans in the police department and the police from and people from your own country. Why? Just a question. How long is a piece of string? Natasha says, why are we hiring officers that are literate? I wish I knew. And even the tools, I mean, listen, nobody should be hired that's illiterate. You should be giving them a writing test. It should be part of the application process that they actually write a police report. You know, this is what you call practical hiring exercises, right? So someone wants to be a police officer, they have to know how to take a witness statement. So before you even get hired, they should put them in a situation where a witness, you know, this is a dummy situation, a witness comes to them, says, okay, this, and this has happened to me. How do you handle, you need to see the report that they've written, how they took the statement, how they dealt with the witness. Like they should be able to demonstrate all of that to a certain degree of efficacy or competence before they're allowed in the police force. Why don't we have these types of criteria? Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Sandra.
Not too bad, dear. How are you?
Okay. I was joking just now when I said calling from Miami.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I thought you had flew out already.
Nah, I'm not going anywhere. I should have called you earlier when you were on the topic with Kip and Brac. But anyway, Sandra, yesterday this incident happened around 6:30, you said. The police went to the residence, collected the whatever it was, and left. And about 8 hours later, the task force can come up and then go and find the suspect and arrest him. Is this how it can work all the time? If that person was killed, was it going to take them 8 hours to come up also to come and arrest the person? What kind of police we have here? And I'm not bashing the police because I know they can only do what they're told. But we're living on an island where somebody shot into somebody's house. Oh, you go and take whatever it was, and you go and sit down by the station and wait for 8 hours for the task force to come up to Grand Cayman. Walks into the guy's house, but we need to search the house. You're under arrest, we're going, that's it. In these modern days, is that really how we got to work?
And you know what is so funny, caller? There are people who are actually saying that, oh, this is great. They resolved this in less than 24 hours. This is a record for Cayman Brac. And there's so many other things that are unsolved. So they were wondering if this situation was getting preferential treatment. And here you are sharing the sentiment that this this was lackluster at best.
I don't understand it. I mean, and if I had did something like that too, you're not coming 8 hours later trying me home. I can be Miami, like you said, or like I told you earlier. I can fly out, but I don't understand that. I'll never understand that. So I don't know.
What a mess.
I guess that's all I gotta say for this morning.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Sanita says the police force is in a mess, full of expat criminals. I know the new commissioner can make some drastic. I hope the new commissioner can make some drastic changes. Johan says, Auntie Sandy, if the guy that misappropriated the stapler from yesterday's show was a local, you wouldn't go easy on him, and the law would do the same. One standard for all. Do your thing. Well, I mean, listen, I tell you all, I don't have any favor towards anyone because of who they are, or how they're connected or anything like that. To me, that's neither here nor there, right? It is one standard for all, as far as I'm concerned, at least on this program, if nothing else. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, morning, Sandy.
Morning.
with the government when it comes into employment with these foreigners, right? Because really and truly, they make it seem like us Caymans that have businesses must hire Caymanians, and then yet they are allowed to bring in foreigners to take our positions.
Well, I mean, Angel says that Caymanians don't want the jobs. How many Caymanians apply?
Caymanians don't want the jobs. It's not that Caymanians don't want the jobs. They don't trust Caymanians straight. They don't trust Caymanians the minute that we have one or two that want to decide that, okay, you have a duty on this island for some reason, then they're going to push that aside because we're not qualified. Qualifications, who's going to train us? And then yet they're going to import these people that have training elsewhere. And the proof is in the pudding, because when you can find 2 good reasons to believe something, stick with my belief in that. And a lot of these illiterate police officers that we're hearing came on. Illiterate. And they're making up their own rules, you know. And then you know the funny part about it? They believe they're self-employed. You see, when they power trip, right? And they feel say because they got authorities to tell you what they want to tell you, and you got to believe in it because the communism isn't. So you have to resist or comply to stupid rules. That's tyranny, in my opinion. Tyranny, or however you want to say it, potato. The thing is about these things is that they're doing this spitefully to take over Cayman. They want to denature us. They don't want men to think for themselves. They don't want nobody to critically. They don't want nobody to be aware. They want everybody to still be clueless. If it's only me that believe that reptilians exist in human beings, oh God, they have some cold-blooded island. So let's just boy, Sandy, they have some corrupted people in our police force. Some corrupted people, you know. Just for example, right? I had an altercation years ago with the police officers. One police officer in the middle of the night, they pulled me over, and they pulled me over on and asked me one question, sir. Why are you driving slow? And I said, to what the? You know, that pissed me off that they pulled me over for driving. And I was like, he's like, no, I don't know why they give you young Cayman. And I said, what the hell? I said, dude, I never paid for my license. And as I graduate from school, it's not on that at that moment. I said, 10 years from now, I had my license since then. You can't tell me that I don't know my road codes. There's no thing as driving slow in a fast lane. There's no such thing as a fast lane. Which fast lane we have in Cayman, Sunday? You be the judge of that. Man say he lucky, I don't have lucky, he don't have a ticket. You see the manipulation there? This is a Jamaican police officer, and there are multiple of those. Multiple of them out there running around the streets because they're law enforcement officers, that they enforce the law, fair law. You know, you go and get Jamaica, and all the laws that they have in Jamaica, we don't apply by.
Thank you, Colin.
They can come here with their sweet talk.
Well, they got under Alejandro's skin there today, and he's not the only one based on the volume of comments that are coming in. I really hope that the RCAPS is paying attention this morning, because I think if nothing else, this show demonstrates that they have a lot of work to do. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, sorry to call back again, but 2 minutes. So, Sandy, Alejandro, he's my boy still. I know he gets off sometime, but he has he makes a lot of sense because he's been there, so he understands, he feels it. But those that haven't gone through it don't know, you know? And what I'm saying is this: it needs revamp. Put, I don't know about the moratorium thing, but put a hold on. The thing is about it, these people see how Cayman operate. Listen, I can tell you that majority of islands or countries in our jurisdiction is jealous of Cayman, and just like what Alejandro say, they will do anything to tear us down so that we don't have that safe reputation for our tourists. And once that has diminished, we have no save. That's it. If we get to the point where the crime is so much and so forth, that is it. I've talked to people that said things like, "Oh, you from Cayman, this, that, whatever, whatever." That is jealousy. I can tell you, there's a lot of islands that are jealous of Cayman. So we need to keep it. Let them be jealous, but let's do the right thing and keep our island safe. And kudos to Alejandro. I know they're not making no fool of him. Okay.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. Wow. Are we the envy of the Caribbean? And I mean, this is such an interesting question. And a lot of people are in agreement. Somebody just says, yes, she's right. There are people other nationalities who are jealous of Cayman and they want us to be in the same predicament as them, financially, socially, crime-wise, and everything, so that we can no longer have bragging rights about being safe and this, that, and the next thing. Something to think about, especially when you're importing so many of your workers, I would say. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning.
And how are you?
Good. Sliding right
Getting
into my
around.
vacation week.
Yeah. Anyway, shows your commitment.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I tried to do WhatsApp calling, but it doesn't give me the option to call you on WhatsApp for some reason.
That's strange.
And so I'll try not to be too long.
Yes.
I just want to say, firstly, I did write a comment. I don't know if you saw it or not. I didn't hear you read it. But let me repeat a little bit of what I said. I'm glad that you're speaking about this morning in plain English. And I'm speaking about now the police. The majority of the police that we have hired, most of them can barely read and write. Secondly, they have no basic training and they don't have the slightest idea of the simple laws of policing. And this situation is going from bad to worse. One of your listeners who's commenting on Facebook is and I also say they don't want to hire Caymanians because when they apply, they don't get interviewed, much less hired. So he's telling me that's not true. Anyway, I can tell him, don't dare to tell me it's not true because I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what his experience has been. I'm telling him what I know. Telling everyone who's reading and listening what I know. And years ago, this did not happen because even the police officers that we had who didn't even make it to sergeant or perhaps not past sergeant, at least they had the basic knowledge of what policing was about. And if they did not know, they then went to their superior officer who should have known and could tell them. And if they didn't know, they went to their superior officer. That's not even happening anymore. You call the police about a crime and they look at you and tell you it's a civil matter. I don't know when this started. I don't know who introduced it. But my take on that is if everything is a civil matter, then we don't need police. What we need are lawyers. Okay? I know what a police job should be. I'm a policeman's daughter. And I'm not here to claim that I know all of the laws. But I will challenge anyone to tell me that what I'm saying is incorrect. And if they don't like what I'm saying, they can eat it and sit down and digest it. But they will not let me change what I have said. I'm speaking from experience. I will not call anyone's name, but I know many Caymanian young men who applied for police jobs and they were not even responded to. Therefore, there was no interview granted no test given, no failure of the test. So do not tell me that the Caymanians don't want the job. They don't want Caymanians there because that would mess up the equation. That would destroy the ratio. And ultimately, it would mess up their objective. The few Caymanians that are left there, the objective is to get rid of them. It's like everything else in this island. It's not for Caymanians, it's for someone else. And the quality of personnel that are being brought into our police force, and I don't care where they've come from. Everybody targeting the Jamaican officers. Well, I beg to differ because they're all the same. It doesn't matter where they have come from. The result is the same.
I think people just mentioning Jamaican officers because they make up at least 60% of the force.
Well, we have others that make up a vast majority as well, and they're in the senior rank, okay? And I have dealt with many different nationalities in the police force, and I can tell anyone the result is the same. And I can say I have gone as far as the commissioner, more than one, and the result is the same. Like I said, some may not know who my father was. I am a policeman's daughter. I was raised in a law and order environment. It is second nature to me to respect the police uniform, the police vehicle. I grew up with that. And now today, my father's children, grandchildren, and I guess the great-grandchildren will be targeted eventually. They're all treated like we are criminals. And I know where that is coming from. That is a residual resentment of the way he ran the force when he was there. Because this kind of stuff would never have happened. And his main thing was hire Caymanians to get better results. Caymanians will trust Caymanians. They will work with the Caymanians. That's how you get crime solved. Nobody's going to feel comfortable confiding in someone they don't know. That's just human nature.
Thank you, caller. Can we leave it there for now?
Sorry?
Can we leave it there for now?
Of course.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, folks, 936-2626. Obviously, because I'm overseas, we do pay a little bit extra for the calls on our end. So I'm just reminding you, keep it short and sweet. All right, some great comments there. Johan says that this caller always has, where was that comment? Anyway, he basically said that this caller always has some amazing points, and thank you very much. Not So Hot says you want to know what the problem is. If you have a government that relies so much on work permits to meet its GDP, there's going to be a problem among the locals. Well, here's the thing, Not So Hot. That has nothing to do with our CIPS or any civil servant, because government doesn't pay work permits. They don't have to take out a work permit for any of those individuals. So they don't take out work permit for prison, any civil service position, police, any civil servant. They're on contract. So that doesn't explain what potentially is happening within the civil service. I'm just saying, I mean, private sector, perhaps the civil service, not at all, because they don't pay work permits. There is no work permit that government has to take out for anybody. All right, Jamaica, not even under Britain, but we are, and they get more endorsements, says Leroy. Let me just see. So true, says Sue, to Miss Brenda's comment. Someone was saying, Alejandro, that you should apply to the police force. Miss Morna says, Sandy, a lot of these Jamaican policemen that come here and get a police job, trust me, that our government didn't do any background checks on them and why they come here to be a police officer. Some of them are wanted, just saying. Well, we've seen that before. Not to pick on the Jamaican officers this morning, but we've seen a guy who was wanted for murder. To be clear, he eventually was cleared in Jamaica. But how do you hire someone who is running from another jurisdiction for a murder charge? We don't know what happened, whether he's going to be charged or not. He shot and killed somebody. I think it was actually in the line of duty. and that's who gets a job? What kind of background checks are we doing exactly? And it's not the first time that we've had officers that have been like, on the criminal side. We have one in court right now, right? That is tied to the murder in West Bay where they said the Caymanian father killed his son. Apparently, the allegation from the DPP's office is that this Jamaican officer, Courtney, was in cahoots with this guy threatening witnesses, and that's why it took witnesses years to come forward to help the police solve this crime. Because, that sort of behavior in Jamaica is very run-of-the-mill, where officers tell you keep your mouth shut or else. But this is what we've imported. He's on trial right now for it. Like, what the hell? Seriously. There was the other one who was in the military. We were the only persons who reported on that situation last year. He ran from his military post to come to Cayman and take up a job. First, he got a job as a security officer, and then our government turned around and hired him to work in the Cays Foundation. And once again, no background checks, no nothing, right? He wasn't too bright though, because he jumped up and decided to go back to Jamaica with his new girlfriend, abandoned his wife and child, went back to Jamaica for the girlfriend's father's funeral, grandfather's, some foolishness. And they nabbed him and put his behind in jail because running from the military in Jamaica is considered a very serious offense. Breaking news, Jim says police SUV speeding down the road towards Frank Sound on the eastern side. Thank you, Jim. Hopefully that means they're picking up some criminals today. I don't know. All right. I think it's fair to say, Not So Hot says talk about work permits in a whole. Yeah, I mean, but specific to policing, that should definitely not be an issue. Stefan says, yep, had to tell her how to spell kunk. Granted, it may be a little bit difficult, but come on. The word kunk is difficult to spell. So police officer couldn't spell kunk. What a mess. Child, they need to get them these, I keep telling them, at least that would get it about 97% accurate. The speech to text applications. Soon we're not gonna need police officers because we can do all this stuff by artificial intelligence. A computer can just take your report. You just speak to the computer and it'll type it out. And then the police report can be printed and generated. Use technology, RCIPS. That might actually help you not look so incompetent all the time. Charlene says too many don't comprehend the laws. Even that's a fact. Not only bad spelling or writing and quick to cop an attitude with the public too. Worse if you're a Caymanian, hate to say so, but the truth. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sunday.
Good morning,
Good morning to the rest of the Cayman Islands.
Yes, sir.
I think that it's important for everybody to, at this point, or to just look at the simple fact. We have a government system with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force being part of that system, which by contract makes the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force not above and beyond any and all else and all others, accountable and beholden to the well-being and the interests of the Cayman Islands and her people. And that is the root of the problem, in my humble opinion. And if Cayman and Caymanians do not get it, that simple fact, then these things are going to continue and they're going to continue to get worse. We have members of parliament who have plausible deniability because in all reality, when it comes to the issues that everybody, regardless of who you are, where you're from, sees and is experiencing. Our voted members of governmental administration have that plausible deniability because they do not control. They are not really able to hold to account except for budgetary considerations, the RCIPS. And I know it's a touchy subject. However, whether it requires a paradigm shift, that's one question. But I just would like for people in the Cayman Islands to open their eyes to that reality. We're speaking about multiple people identifying the fact that we have
police officers who do not have basic reading and comprehension skills necessary. Okay, and that is just one part of the spectrum of issues that we face here. Now, if that or any of the other issues under consideration are to be addressed, let alone rectified, we need to look at the base relationship that the RCIPS has with the people of the Cayman Islands. And what we have, people of the Cayman Islands, is the absence of a contractual basis wherein the RCIPS, and I'm going to clarify here, a police service. We do not have a police service who is beholden to and accountable to the well-being and the interests of the Cayman Islands and her people to the exclusion of any and all others. And that reality needs to be looked at, addressed, and understood if anybody wants to see positive things in the future.
Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it.
That's my opinion. Have a good day.
Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, folks, 936-2626 is a telephone number. Charlene says, look, you haven't smoked anything. Someone said, let me just back up so that these comments can make a little bit of sense to our listeners. So Nirla says, some of our Caymanians not interested in joining the force. There are some that are interested but fail the urine test, the drug test. Tiana says, some Caymanians have to provide proof of all their credentials. That includes a full vetting process. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning.
Morning.
This is my first time calling.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
I was listening, and I do enjoy your show very much.
Thank you.
I was listening to the other talk show this morning, and I heard a topic where they were saying that, you know, Cayman Brac is being taken over by so many other nationalities and the jobs and this. It's not only Cayman Brac. It is all three islands. First of all, I think we Caymanians are going to be like the rest. We're going to have to move, or we're going to have to be helpers for the expats that come here and have the big posts and the big jobs. Or we're going to have to run to another place, get a work permit, and do domestic jobs over in other countries. I don't know what the MLAs and the Premier and all the other government entities are going to do, but we need to start doing something to protect our root Caymanian people. When I say root, I mean the roots, the grass roots, the ones that were born here and made this island something for the rest to come here and enjoy it. And I think it is high time that the MLAs put the Caymanians first. You go to the admin building. I was there the other evening sitting down with my daughter waiting for a friend, and out of the admin building, I had not seen one true born Caymanian. Even the security that was taking the flag down was not a Caymanian. Tell me why we can't get a Caymanian to take the flag down, put it up in the morning, kindly fold it. I don't even know if you probably fold it properly, because, you know, when I was going to school, they taught you at least how to fold the flag. So I'm not even sure if he knew that he had folded or he folded the right way, but that's another day to come, you know. And the thing is, right now, we have to start with our kids. I mean, there are educated Caymanian people here that have degrees. They apply for jobs and they told them they need experience. If they don't get a job, how are they going to go and get experience? You know, this is the first thing they tell a Caymanian. Oh, you don't have it. And then people that come from other places do have a degree or do have a high school education and get these jobs. What is going on here? Really? What is going on? I mean, we Caymanians need to get jobs. We have we don't live like the other expats, you know, like 10 into a room and taking one card and sharing the food, the many millions together that they have. So we have to have a job. You know, it is like we Caymanians, all you can hear, we lazy. We were never lazy. We made this island for them to come in here and enjoy it. So where were the lazy Caymanians and where are the lazy Caymanians? There's no lazy Caymanians there. There's none. And as what Ms. Brenda was saying, it is
well,
true.
I wouldn't say that there's none, because unfortunately, I think we've raised a generation now that we're seeing the fruits of that situation. But I would say historically, our people have never been like that.
Yes, but listen, when you apply for a job, first of all, they tell you, oh, we're going to pay you $4 or $6 an hour. You know, that is what is turning the Caymanians off, and then they walk around, oh, they're lazy. I've seen it. Every Caymanian, look at when the cleanup committee. How many Caymanians are out there looking at jobs? You know what? There may be, just like what you said, I'm going to be with you. There may be a few lazy Caymanians, but the majority of us are not really lazy.
Yes, that's right.
We just can't work for $4 and $6 an hour. And it's just like what my friend the Archer said. The police force and all of the government people, I don't know, they're coming here taking the jobs from the government because they don't have to get a work permit. And that's another thing that needs to be cleaned up. You know, Caymanians are here, smart people. When we had this island run, Georgetown people, because I am from Georgetown also, but they all knew we had a whole village. We had the whole village that raised families, and no one was lazy. I would come and rake your yard for you. I would do things for you, and no one was really lazy. And you know what? We got a 2pence and a 6pence for watering plants or picking these berries or something. We were never lazy people, so I don't know where this is coming from. And then you go to the government building, you apply for a job. Oh, it's fill out the application. You never would get a response back. No one tells you, never get a response back. And it is true. They never, once you're a Cayman, you put a different name, of course they will call you for an interview. But you never get a job if you see this Caymanian surname. Borden, Watlers, Whitaker. You know, where are the Cayman? Who's doing these interviews? It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. Because the thing is, once you see a Caymanian surname, that application is thrown into the garbage. It's thrown into the garbage. You don't even have the audacity to call you back and say, okay, I'm going to give her a chance. Let me see what she looks like. And then when they come in, they see a Caymanian, it's like, oh no, she's not for the job. We have that job waiting for someone else. All the jobs are already picked up for expats. And I don't know what is happening. Caymanians are smart people, very smart. We didn't have to go to school to get an education or a college degree or whatever. We built this island. We built this island. We built this island on integrity and hard work. And now they're all coming here to enjoy it. You know what? Wake up, MLAs. We have to get our Caymanians first.
Thank you so much, caller. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, ma'am.
Don't be a stranger. One person just commented. They said, "Wow." I said, "This is what they said." They said, "Look, like she been holding a lot in." So
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna, sometimes it's just like what you see. Just get touched by opening your mouth. So I will have to open my mouth.
That's right.
A lot of people need, and we Caymanians, we take it for granted. You know what? We were the friendly people. We opened arms and invited everyone in this island.
Yes.
Everyone in this island. And you know what? They took us for those nice friendly people, but the time has come that we have to show them both sides. We have to show them both sides.
Thank you so much, caller. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much. All right. And we do have another caller on the line as well. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, dear.
That lady is so right.
Yes.
That lady is so right. But I've said it over and over again. We'll talk until our faces turn blue, or we all turn blue. The reason of that is because most of our MPs, as now being called, only see us the senior of election, and they're grinning from ear to ear, and holding out their hand a half a mile away to get to shake your hands. Darling, I haven't seen you for a little while yet. They don't realize that we're paying them. We're some of us are very hard working people. We do have lazy people in this island, but guess what? The MPs, some of the MPs, some from down here alone, has made them that way, because some of those that I see on the beach and whatnot has been working before. And then some of the MPs, when you get in their election, like I said before, is handing out their 25 and the 50s, and they get their mother-in-laws and their sisters and their brothers to go around and to see what you need and what you want. But it's only a chosen few. Down here in West Bay, and I'm a West Bayer. Oh, Sandy, I born August, 1st of August. I'm a Leo like you. Anyway, we can talk and talk and talk and talk. But if we don't do what other countries do, go out there, protest till we drop and make them see that we got people, the older people, the people now, some of them have passed, they had guts, not highly educated, but had guts. That's what we got to get. We talk on our radio, and I'm glad that you opened this program up, and I'm glad that you're there, and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, because you're not hiding behind, because I'm afraid to lose my job. Even the government workers are disgusting with that, some of them. I'm afraid to lose my job. Oh, excuse me. Is this island yours? Is this island yours? Or who is it belonging to? Why not fight for what people has gone to war? God knows I'm not suggesting that. Has lost their lives because of their country, fighting for their rights. And what we're doing, talking until we're blue. Protest if we need to do so. Protest. And what,
Thank you,
what
caller.
I can do about it? Thank you, my dear, and you have a good day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. We've got another call on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello?
Yes, morning, caller.
Morning, Auntie Sandy. We're going in Jamaica.
Good morning, caller.
Nice to meet you, Johan. Can you use your Jamaican accent in Jamaica, or would that be offensive?
Sir, get to the point with your comments. We have limited time this morning.
Sorry. Listen, good segment. Lots of good comments in the thing, but I just wanted to make this point. Easy to blame elected politicians. Elected politicians do not run the civil service. The civil service is run by our own Caymanian people. They then employ people that then are responsible for being in charge of the police, the hospital, the fire, all of these different services. I think it's important that we understand the country gets the people, like, let's just use, we're talking about the police and the lack of professionalism by many and the rudeness. But those people, whether they come from Jamaica, England, Barbados, the moon, it doesn't matter. Those people are hired by Caymanians. And at the end of the day, the biggest problem that we got is a complete lack of accountability. Because how many times do the public have to basically say, hey, I'm a law-abiding citizen. You had a guy, Alejandro, call in. We give Alejandro a hard time because he has a strong position on a man said was gospel. At the end of the day, all we want is the respect to be shown to us so that we can reciprocate that. And unfortunately, in too many government-run institutions, whether it be police or anything else, that's what we were talking about this morning, that is not the case. But if a Caymanian was to be rude, disrespectful, discourteous, and a bully to anybody, the likelihood of them being reprimanded and fired would be a lot higher than it is from what we tolerate from persons from abroad. And all I'm saying is, let's just have one standard. And if there's somebody, I personally take offense to anybody in a position of authority who talks to me like I'm a dog or I don't have any sense. Now, I can be aggressive. I'm brave and I'm not afraid of anything in this world. But we shouldn't allow people to get a government paycheck, especially from abroad, that are discourteous and have no respect for us. We should not be giving
It is too easy to get PR. It is too easy to get status. And we need to make sure that we have people that come here that actually understand the basic criteria of respect begets respect, and demonstrate that to the people that you find here, because we are not rambunctious. We are not horrible people. We are not violent people. We are nothing like some of the countries that they've come from, that they've left to find a better place. And I don't care if anybody thinks that that's being racist, because I'm not being racist. I'm stating a fact that nobody in their country should be treated like crap or disrespected or spoken down to or yelled at or anything by somebody employed by our government using taxpayer funds to get that done. We need to have accountability. I'm going to go back and make the point. How can you expect the police service to be serious when they can't solve their own crime? Before the previous commissioner came, 24 kilos of coke and several pounds of weed went missing from the Georgetown secure lockup. Nobody got fired. Nobody was held accountable. I can guarantee you this. If there was a Caymanian police officer in charge of anything that day, the likelihood of that person being reprimanded is very, very real. I still have that to say, Cayman is going the way that it's going because Caymanians in charge are making bad decisions. It's not necessarily the MPs, but it's the people that we think are nice and friendly, and just because they ask you how your mama doing and that they're in a position of authority, nice guys make bad choices and they do what's best for them. Everybody else from abroad, Filipinos, Jamaicans, English, Canadians, South Africans, they have a sense of unity. Where's the unity amongst the Caymanian community? And all I'm saying is, when we speak our mind, that doesn't mean that we're problem or that we're causing a problem. You know, we know better and we want better because we pay a lot of fees in this country, so we should demand better. And if you are in charge of anything, from the deputy governor on down, make sure your people are doing their job and we are getting quality, professional service, because Caymanian people are largely respectful, and all we want is to feel safe, comfortable, and respected in our home by anybody that comes there. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate it.
Take care.
We've got another caller, I believe, in the line. Yes, one more. Listen, we're going to go a little bit closer to 10 o'clock this morning because I've actually got some potential 2 pieces of information that has just come in that's going to be breaking news. So get your second cup of coffee because one of these is going to blow your socks off if it's true. So stand by. Caller, good morning.
Morning. Despite the appearance, Caymanians are not in control of what's going on. For example, it doesn't really matter whether it's a Caymanian commissioner of police or a non-Caymanian commissioner of police, because the commissioner of police has a boss who's actually setting the policies that the commissioner of police is going to follow. Right? And what we have is an illusion here. I think this colonial system is not in the best interest of the Caymanian people. In fact, they have written it into the Constitution clearly, but since many people don't want to read, they don't know that Section 31 to Section 3 of the Constitution order says that when the governor is carrying out his responsibilities as governor, he shall endeavor to look out for the interests of the Cayman Islands, so long as those interests are consistent with the interests of the United Kingdom. Matter of what it is that we want for ourselves. They have put it in writing that what matters most is what they want. Okay. Now, the problem I have with that section is that section is contrary to Article 73 of the UN Charter, which says regarding the remaining non-self-governing territories that the people of the respective territories, it is their interest that is paramount. Okay? So the UK legislated the opposite because they were looking out for their own interests. And so what happens here will only happen if it benefits the UK. That's what they have in writing. And I heard one caller referred earlier said that people who, like when you get police officers, and some, I think that's what she was referring to, shouldn't be status holders, they should be Caymanians. Well, all Caymanians are status holders. What the term Caymanian is just an abbreviated term for what is officially Caymanian status. So the reason why that was brought in was to be a protection for Caymanians, but the problem is that since Caymanians were not understanding how it is looking out for the interests of Caymanians, they were complaining that, it's too much to go through. Well, the reason that amount to go through is because we live in a system that is not really geared for us. It's geared for them. And so what that's going to do is that's going to shape all of the future generations to live in a society in which you say and burn into your conscience that you accept that somebody else's interests will take priority over yours, which is the UK's interest. And that's not good for us as a country, because we're not going to keep our rights. We're not going to benefit. We're not going to grow. We're not going to have people operating within this system when they can see the unfairness in it.
Okay, caller, leave me there.
And so I just want to say that another example of that is the changing of the name from Legislative Assembly to Parliament. Some people don't understand the importance of that, but that in and of itself is giving us an illusion that we live in an environment that is actually not the case. We do not have control. And Parliament is about sovereignty.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
All right. Next caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Good morning again.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I would just like to ask, when Johan gets a chance, to please clarify which Caymanian is it within the RCIPS specifically who is in charge of human resources, hiring and/or firing? Because I was listening to Mr. Moxham's words there, and I think he stated twice that it's Caymanians who are at the forefront, at the head, at the helm of those who become members of the RCIPS. And I remind you, it's the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. It is not the Cayman Islands Police Service. Okay. So I would like, if possible, to ask Mr. Moxham to please clarify which Caymanian is it who is in charge of the human resources of RCIPS, because I think that part of his statement is not accurate.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. I don't know who their current HR manager is, to be honest. I'm not sure, but we can try to find out. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Morning. To Sunday. You gotta remember what happened to the British Virgin Islands last year now. Remember? Yeah, and it was the same system under the what Cayman is, because we're a crown colony, like what Dana was saying. So the politicians have little to say. They could kick up and make up the face, but when it comes to implementing policies and action, that's in the hands of the governor himself. So that's the same thing. What was going on in the British Virgin Islands? It's the same thing going on. Yeah. How long that for? They had a UK commissioner too. He knew what was going on, because he was part of it. You hear him arrest him. You're not arresting because he will benefit from it, believe it or not. So that's the same thing that going on, yeah. The benefit from it. You think the commissioner and England and all them don't know what's going on, yeah. They know what's going on, yeah. They're allowing it because it's a certain amount of that business that got happen for them to run the police business. That's just how it works for the world. So they know what's going on. So let the people go refresh their memory of what happened to the Virgin Islands, and then they could start to put it all together and see what happened to us. We forget things too quick, and then the information that right in our face, we don't know how to implement it into the reality that facing, and then some people get confused, but they just gotta look back at that example, then apply it. Yes, the same thing going on, yeah, all over the British colonies, you know. I'll give it that. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Well, the phone lines are definitely hot today, my dear. We're a mess. And we're just scratching the surface on some of these topics, but I think the takeaway from today's show, we're going to go a little bit closer to 10 o'clock this morning, but I think the takeaway from today's show is definitely that the RCMPS need to wake up. We have a new designate. Let's read some additional comments that have come in on WhatsApp because some of these are interesting. This person says the police force only vets Caymanians because look how many they hire with record Jamaica and come here and do criminal activities same way. A lot of Caymanians join the force and leave the force because they get no recognition. Bare expats are sergeants, Indians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, etc. A lot of Caymanians join the police force and never get promoted, only fight. They have been giving me a fight from when I started, and I'm still holding it down until I can get something better. The Jamaicans part in groups, and if you're not with them, they do everything in their power for you to leave. Mess with your shifts and schedules, etc. So that's someone on the inside sharing some of their experience in relation to the force. Somebody sent a voice note, but I don't know if that's meant to be played on air. Oh gosh, we got so much news coming in here this morning. A few people saying amen, a new caller, but a long time listener. And I agree that she's been storing up so much. Kudos to her and thank you for making it possible. Much love, San. We have another one. Let me see here. This person says we need to stop hiring Jamaican illiterate officers. This country was a true paradise before imports and status giveaways by Bush. That is the truth. And they said kudos to Alejandro today. Alejandro making some impressions. This person says try not to take any more callers. Shaking my head. Lord Jesus. Can't put a moratorium on the callers. All right, listen, a couple things I want to get to. We didn't get to talking about the caregivers, my dear honey child. That'll have to be tomorrow's show. This person says, morning, Sandy. The RCMPS is an absolute disappointment and letdown every time we need them. I mean, in whatever jurisdiction, it's more than 70% of the police force. I mean, in what jurisdiction is more than 70% the police force or expats? They're useless on a traffic accident scene, useless on crime and anything with FRU. Goes to do a raid, the people they come for are gone. Rats in the department. I personally don't trust them, and they have no use for them, even in my job professionally. Lord Jesus, what a mess. Okay, so listen, breaking news this morning. I wanted to talk about these Cubans who ended up in some other country. I think it was Honduras. I don't even know where they're gone now, and they're complaining about us, but we'll leave that till tomorrow because God knows I'm so sick and tired of them and their ungratefulness. Honestly, just the quicker we put them on that plane and send them back from whence they cometh, the better. So they not know breaking news this morning, but you're going to hear it exclusively here on CMR. Trust me when I tell you, you want to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Okay? 2 bits of breaking news. You're only going to hear it on this program first. We're going to flesh out the details and we're going to put it up on the website. But this first one, just heard that Makiva Bush has been arrested this morning regarding the indecent assault from the decades-old indecent assault case. Let me repeat that for those of you who may have missed it. McKeeva Bush, this is what my street sources are telling me, and I do believe my street sources this morning are 99.9999999 to the 10th power correct. McKeeva Bush has been arrested this morning in relation to the indecent assault case from decades ago. Wow. We've emailed the RCIPS. You know, they're gonna be slow like molasses. Speaking of them, that department only works from 9 to 5. So I've emailed them, however, to get official confirmation. But I can tell you, I've already checked one of my good sources. And I said, is this true? And they have replied with, I cannot lie. So you can take that to the bank, honey child, because you know I'm not gonna message just anybody and ask them, is this true? And my sources say, I cannot lie. Honey child, McKeeva in a world of trouble. While he's sitting down there trying to fake y'all into voting for him again over pensions, he better worry about the roosters have come for him. You can do what Cayman and say, you can do what you want, but not for as long as you want. There's a day of reckoning for everybody, my dear child. And I dare say, a decades-long case. Wow. So that's two assault cases now. Lord Jesus, he needs to step down from public office like now. He shouldn't wait till the next election. This is such an embarrassment. My God. I can't even imagine. I don't think we've ever had someone in office that have had this many arrests and charges, potential charges and stuff laid against them. He's setting a new record for himself. Garrett says, I'm not shocked. My socks are still on. Lord Jesus. What a heat this morning, I tell you. Vicky says, really? Yeah. Arrested again, but geez, says Siobhan, Miss Darlene Manzanares. There's a clap. I don't know which comment that was in relation to, so let me not assume. Olivia says, that's why I keep saying the entire language test is discriminatory. It prohibits persons from non-English countries from entering the country that can't read or write, but then it allows Jamaicans that are illiterate to enter the country, which can't read or write. Well, let me be very clear, Olivia, about the language test. The language test isn't so much about reading and writing. We don't expect you to be able to write a police report if you're not in the police department and you're working in a restaurant and all you need to do is take an order. The language test is important because people should have a basic knowledge of English, meaning you should be able to communicate with people. Just yesterday, someone was saying to me in relation to this, that, you know, they were at the hospital. There's some tire shop where a tire exploded, and the people who were injured and somebody else that was with them, neither one of them spoke any English. They were Spanish speakers, and the people at the hospital couldn't understand what the heck they were saying. And this is a very serious situation where they got injured from a tire explosion and they can't help themselves. And this person's like, how did they end up in Cayman if they can't speak English? They were sitting there watching this, transaction at the emergency room. All I could do is shake my head, honey child. I don't know. I'm just like, what a mess. This is going from bad to worse. Perla says he wasn't going to stop this indecent behavior. I hope he's locked up this time. He's too much trouble. And yet there will still be people here defending him. Believe me, I'm waiting for the first comment to come in to say, well, you know, you still gotta love him no matter what he do. Yes, he can still sing in the church choir. Gabby says he's still gonna get back in office. One thing about them West Bayers, they loyal boy, more like stupid, I hate to say, but anybody who votes for this man at this point in time, you're not loyal, you're just dumb. And you needed somebody to tell you that. And so we're gonna tell you that here in the cold hard truth. No, son. I mean, there just comes a time when you gotta just pack it in, man. Come on now, this is ridiculous. And we don't even know all the details of the case. I've heard some of it, and I can't say anything about what I've heard in terms of the victim, but y'all better. This one gonna be hot, that's all I can tell you. Siobhan says exactly, can't do what you want forever. It comes back to bite you in the butt, and it's called karma. It's not even called karma. It's what we talk about every single day here. Actions have consequences, right? And I don't care who the face of the person is. I don't care if it's a Makiba Bush. I don't care if it's Parker Reed, the stapler guy. I don't care if it's the Jaren. I don't care if it's Miss Cayman. She's coming up at the end of July for sentencing. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if it's me. Actions have consequences. And if you can't learn, as them old people used to say, you can't learn, you can feel. That's for sure. They tell you don't do this and you keep doing it, they can say you can feel. Now, in most cases, I mean, they were going to whoop you behind. But in the rest of the world, you can't hear, you can feel with consequences. You're going to be arrested. You're going to be charged. You could potentially be found guilty. And you might end up in jail at some point. This is it. Sonita says, karma shall be that man's portion to the end of time. He gave race status and kill a lot of Caymanian dreams of a promotion and a decent job. Well, I don't know. Listen, that ain't got nothing to do with his allegations. Let's keep them separate. The man has done some things that were good in his political career and in his community. He's done some things like the status grants that nobody in their right mind would ever agree with, and the way that they were done. Let us be clear, he was not the only person. It was done under his leadership, but every single person who was under that UDP government at the time should also be held accountable. And y'all appear to have forgotten who they were. We better go back in the archives and pull up all those MPs' names, MLAs at the time, because they shouldn't get a pass either. They sat back and they were complacent in this. And for the record, you know what the irony of this whole situation was? Those of us who stood up at the time and protested on the government steps, and I remember that day very, very clearly in the old glass house building, out there with their wheelbarrows and protesting, right? Even mounting legal challenges. The irony of it is that the premier today, Mr. Wayne Panton, was the one who paid for the legal challenge to be mounted against the status grants, to say this can never happen again. This is ridiculous. Is there any way that we can overturn it? And I know some of y'all are like, oh, well, what is his government? Listen, don't confuse the issue. There's such a thing as striking a balance in your country, right? To not, upset things, just the dynamics of everything in your country. So we do need work permit holders here. We don't have enough Caymanians, no matter what y'all do. And I don't want y'all, when they're having 50 children like Jaren, to say you overpopulate the country now, because if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Caymanians should come first in this country, but we also have a part to play in this. Yeah? So I don't want, let me be I can make this crystal clear. There was a time when the vast majority of Caymanians were good, hardworking individuals. I can no longer say that because I look around and I see the laziness that I'm surrounded by. Yeah? So even if we're at 60-40, that's too high. Even if we're at 80-20, that's too high. We shouldn't have 20% of Caymanians relying on NAU and too damn lazy. I have some right now. Oh, Miss Sandy, I need money. I'm so hungry. I'm so this, I'm so that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you can't get up and work. For months, they've been promising me they're going to go register on WRC and all now, not doing nothing all day. And all now can't go do that much. So I have to acknowledge that we have a segment of our population that have gotten a little bit too used to handouts, thanks to the likes of people like a Makiba Bush, by the way, right? They're part of the handout system. This other person says that there was a time, just trying to find this comment again, when they could vouch for Caymanians not being lazy, but unfortunately, that is no longer the case. What a hot mess. All right, let me get on to the second piece of breaking news. So again, that one seems to be accurate. We are waiting for the police to say so, and then we will publish it on the website. Charles says, now the police can't investigate themselves out of a wet paper bag, let alone a case more than 20 years ago. Drugs go missing from their evidence room where the police have keys and they can't solve it. Well, I don't necessarily know that that's the case. There's more than one way to catch someone for a 20-year-old case. And I imagine that even for them to arrest him on this, there has to be something there. And this is where sometimes people trip themselves up by talking about these things. So I can't say anything more than that. We will have to see exactly what happens. But if I were him, I think he should be talking about stepping down at this time. So I wouldn't say just because it's a 20-year-old case that there might not be some solid evidence. Now, here's the other bit of breaking and shocking news that you will only hear this morning on the Cold Hard Truth. It's just crazy. But this story is shocking. Boy, I don't even know how to tell you all this, but let me just tell you how I'm getting it. There has been a sexual assault yesterday, a rape of a juvenile in prison. Lord Jesus. I have the name of the rapist. We're not going to name him yet, but I do have it. I don't know what he's in for. He is from Cayman, Brac. A hot mess. But they've moved him to maximum security now. Well, it sounds like a little bit late to be moving him, but anyway, he's now in maximum security. But again, this is a concern because for many, many years, we've had a report that the authorities have been sitting on in relation to the fact that our prisons are not really as safe as they could be, and especially not safe for juveniles. I have so many questions about this. A juvenile being in prison with hard-backed men, and now one has raped this juvenile. Somebody have to pay for this in more ways than one. And we need some very, very serious questions to be answered this morning. So Alejandro says, wait, what did I just hear? Well, the authorities haven't said anything to us. Let's put it that way. We will now reach out to the prison director and ask for confirmation of this. No need to cover this up, honey child, because we getting this from the best sources right inside the prison. Prisoners talking about it. They know exactly what is going on. So y'all need to fess up. And this reminded me that just yesterday there was a report that came out on the suicide in the US, an independent inquiry on the suicide of Jeffrey Epstein, and how the authorities basically failed him because he was on suicide watch and they did nothing to protect him, including giving him excess bed sheets. Somebody's in suicide watch and you're going to give them excess bed sheets. Somebody has failed, right? And there were other things in that report, but I would like to see and hear of what independent agency will now be starting this investigation forthwith of this poor juvenile who has been sexually assaulted, raped by a prisoner, by another prisoner. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable. So, I don't know. But those are the two bits of breaking news this morning that we have for you. Again, in case you're just tuning in, we're going to start to wrap things up here. But we've got Makiva Bush having been arrested for a decades-old sexual assault, and a juvenile having been raped in her prisons by another man. My God. Someone says, sick bastard, the court should be held accountable for putting juveniles with adults. Well, I don't know that that's the court. That's the penal system. That's prison. We've been talking about forever that we need a separate juvenile facility, and yet that has never happened. There's no political willpower. There's no administrative willpower. There's nobody who is looking to build this facility. There's no funding for it. We prioritize and fund everything else, except once again, when it comes to protection of our children. Even, nobody deserves this. Even a child who we don't know what the young man was in trouble for. But, it's just, I can't even fathom. This is just horrific. So Miss Brenda says, what the hell was a minor doing there? I hope the family sues or draws off. I tell you what. Lord Jesus. I don't know. Steer the country for us, because this is just absolutely ridiculous. I tell you. Wow. So yeah, those are some of the news headlines. Tomorrow we'll be back at 7:30 in the morning, folks. We'll have whatever available updates on these two stories. Please check your social media pages and website. And lots of messages coming in relation to this. Not so hot. It's actually a male on male situation. So he was in the prison. Someone said, oh, I hope it's not this particular guy because he's a real rapist. We have a lot in prison, unfortunately. And they will definitely sexually assault people in prison with no qualms about it. They won't think twice about it. It's horrible. This person says, where's the Ministers Association? Lord Jesus, hold your breath for them to have anything to say on it. They'll only be concerned about the LGBTQ aspect of it. Hot mess. Anyway, folks, that's what I've got for you. This person says, thank God for CMR, otherwise they would sweep it under the rug. Sue says, this has made me sick. It's just horrible. It should make us all sick, Miss Sue, and we have to demand justice for all victims, even those who were incarcerated. This is not something that should ever happen to a victim. This person says, how come they're not kicking up a storm about the numerous sexual assaults? Speaking about the Ministers Association. I wish I had an answer to that. I do not know. So tomorrow morning, we'll have our show starting again at 7:30. We'll go to about 9:30-ish. Friday morning, no show because I'll be traveling back to my beautiful Cayman Islands. I will be back early Friday morning, so no show. And we've got lots of things that we will have on Monday's show for you without a doubt. So hopefully tomorrow I can give you some update on these stories. And then also we will tap into the issue of these caregivers who've been reaching out and complaining. So guards turning a blind eye, said Siobhan. Brenda says, I'm nauseated now. Trust me, this is very, very disturbing news. And there's so many questions I have about how this happened, where it happened, how did he have access to juvenile? I mean, if anything, they need to have a separate juvenile wing. There's just too much. My brain actually hurts at the moment. Somebody else says that they have Eagle House for juveniles, but that didn't make sense. Sorry, let me finish reading that comment. They have Eagle House for juveniles, but that didn't make sense because he was adjourned. Wait a minute. That didn't make sense because that was adjoined to HMP. Oh, Eagle House is physically next to it. They're now saying they're concerned about the mental health, obviously, of the victim. Minister in charge of prisons getting paid for what? Lord Jesus. So yes. Okay. So I will certainly try to update those stories for you tomorrow. Very, very sad situation. Yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Thank you for the tons of phone calls. Hi, Cameron. How are you? Says the new governess has her hands full. Ciao. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will put those up on the website as soon as we can get some additional details from the RCIPS. Again, we hope the police were listening this morning and they were listening to your feedback, and that definitely the new designated commissioner, Mr. Kurt Walton, will start to make some changes. Mr. Goodlook says, thought it was the DJ that they got. How come they haven't found him yet? Which DJ was this? I'm not sure which DJ that is. All right, folks, please be safe out there on the roadways. Lots of reckless and careless driving. We received numerous complaints yesterday about trucks and cars and everybody driving recklessly. I saw Ann Dean saying, well, why do you guys keep sending it to CMR? Talking about, oh, they almost caused an accident. Wait till they cause an accident. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. The reason why people are reporting them is because people are saying, hello, you almost caused an accident. You're JA of the day. We're going to expose you. We're going to call the police on you, blah, blah, blah. Try to not cause an accident. Public shaming people into driving better on the roadways, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I didn't quite understand Ann Dean's point about why you're reporting that there was almost an accident. I don't understand a lot of things in this world, but anyway, we'll keep the conversation going. I will see you beautiful folks tomorrow morning. Thank you for all of your feedback. And Damien says it's called being proactive. I mean, that's what I thought too, but hey, I'm no expert here. I'm just a little squirrel trying to get a nut. Anyway, you guys be good, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning, okay? Take care until then.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.